Welcome to another edition of Art of the Kickstart. Today I am super excited because I am speaking with Brock Massner, CEO and co-founder of NV Athletics and the inventor of the NV Rack. Brock just launched his campaign yesterday, so I'm super excited to kind of dive in. And now that he's hopefully had a good night of sleep, we can talk about this campaign and all the work that they have done to get there. Brock, welcome to Art of the Kickstart.
Hey, thank you, Roy. I'm excited to be here.
Me too, man. I got my workout in already this morning. I want you to give the crowd the elevator pitch for the NV Rack.
The NV Rack is a supplementary training tool. It's a squat rack attachment that you can attach to any squat rack, and it's going to increase the effectiveness of all your lifts, exercises, and movements using our patented and trademarked technology of non-varying resistance.
What is non-varying resistance? Because I think that's probably the biggest thing of like, okay, cool, I work out, all of that. Am I not doing it right? Are there other things that I should be doing? Let's go through the education of why NVR, non-varying resistance, is important.
We're using the NV Rack as kind of our MVP to push this new type of training. Honestly, it's a type of resistance that not a whole lot of people have used. And it's something that we really think will be the new standard of resistance training. We are super excited to push this out. Once people try it, it clicks, a light bulb goes on. It's not going to be a static weight. A lot of people ask, well, why wouldn't I just add more weight to a certain exercise and that will increase the resistance? This is actually going to be a force that is applied upon in a certain direction. So with this directional force, you're actually able to increase your muscle recruitment, which is one of the biggest things, especially for bodybuilders, beginning lifters, to learn proper technique and proper form. But one of the biggest pieces and one of the main reasons why we invented or why we came up with this product was to help youth athletes and help beginners generate a high power output, but at a light, safe, and repeatable weight. All right, force equals mass times acceleration. And so the force is the power in this equation. And so to increase your power output, normally people are going to have to increase the mass or the load that they're lifting. We are increasing the acceleration of your lifts or movements or exercises. So you're able to decrease that mass, be able to do more reps, safer reps, have better form, and do it more often and prevent overtraining. I know that might be a lot of jargon and a long-winded answer to say that it simply attach it to whatever movement you're doing. And it's going to increase the effectiveness by increasing your power output, increasing your muscle recruitment, and making all your exercises safer by improving your technique and form.
So Brock, you've been in the fitness industry for a few decades now. What was that kind of light bulb moment maybe that you had in terms of creating this product or at least starting the idea of it? And talk about that process that you've gone through over the years now.
I grew up wanting to be an athlete. I was very fortunate enough to have a personal trainer in middle school and in high school. Shout out to Paul Armstrong. I owe him a lot for what he taught me. He was able to give me a ton of different training philosophies, a ton of different training tools that I used all through middle school and high school. And after using the different equipment, cable machines, resistance bands, practicing Olympic lifts, a bunch of different training tools, I was like, well, I like this piece of this equipment. I like this type of training philosophy from this piece of equipment. I want something that kind of combines all of these training principles into one. And so really the seed started, I would say, in high school. I went to the University of Iowa, studied biomedical engineering. I did draw up the very first rough draft while I was in college, but it was a year after I graduated that I gave it to a buddy and said, hey, can you weld this together? And at that point, the proof of concept was made, and it was a hunk of metal. It was.
You usually are, man.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty, and it did not need to be. And I had a lot of, let's say, apprehension behind. I was like, what's this going to feel like? And once I used it, I was like, holy smokes, this is even better than I imagined that it was going to be. I was at one of the largest CrossFit gyms in America at the time, and I was competed in CrossFit. I was teaching youth athletes a lot, and I was teaching kind of new beginners coming in. And one of the biggest things was I want to use this tool to help teach people to lift properly and still get the same benefits out of lifting heavy or being powerful, but staying at a lighter weight so everyone stays safer. And I use the proof of concept on members at the gym, my youth athletes that I was training, and the feedback was just phenomenal. And I was like, all right, what's the next step? I've probably listened to over 75 audiobooks about like marketing, inventing, licensing, just kind of the ground up where to go. And so I found a product development team in Houston. They made it a shinier hunk of metal. It was a hunk of metal, and now it's a shinier hunk of metal. But it kind of took it one step closer, and then I then started training professional athletes. I was able to be at a different gym in Houston, started training professional athletes, Olympic athletes, bodybuilders. I even competed in powerlifting myself, continued to compete in CrossFit, and just absorbing as much knowledge as I could. Made some tweaks and continued to try to improve upon the product. My cousin, who I roomed with in college and obviously grew up with, he was the entrepreneur. He actually had a few different startups at the time. He saw the product and was like, yes, this is it. This needs to be a thing. I want to help you. From there, we started NV Athletics LLC and took it to a new engineering team and made it what it looks like today. Made it look like a product that could be sold and could be marketed. We're probably at about the 4th or 5th prototype at this point. We got hooked up with actually Hyperice is our manufacturer, is in Asino, and we got partnered up with them. And they have a lot of smart engineers over there too. So we put it in their hands, and they've made the final few modifications to make it what it is today. Took the steps as needed to get the manufacturing line all set up. And now we are just trying to educate people on what this product can really do and how big of wave we are trying to create in the market.
In talking about the education that you have gone through over years and years, what advice would you give yourself now or at the beginning of this process, knowing what you know now?
Ask for help. I felt with my engineering background and my expertise in the fitness industry, I felt like I had like a good grasp on the product that I wanted to create. That being said, there are a lot of people who are smarter than I am, especially in the business side of things. And I'm super lucky to have my business partner, Zach, and my wife, Alyssa, is also the CSO of our company. And she is our glue that kind of holds us all together. She is the marketing and sales guru of the team. And she's been able to help guide us through the steps. Zach has been instrumental in the partnerships and the connections we've been able to make. And that's to loop back to this answer, connect with the right people and be patient. Everyone wants to get it done now. Making the smart partnerships, making the right connections with the right people. Don't just jump on the first thing that comes up. This is a long road, and just make sure you do it correctly.
In talking about this long road, what's next after this, right? I think after you produce this product, get a lot of consumer feedback that you've already been getting, what does the future rollouts look like for NV Athletics?
The NV Rack is our MVP, but it's not going to be our only piece of equipment. We are super excited. We already have a few other patents on other technology where we're able to let more people try what non-bearing resistance feels like, whether that's in the rehab or hospital facilities. I would definitely say that this is a product that is definitely more of a performance tool, but there's so much benefit to where non-bearing resistance can have in different areas, whatever your goal may be.
You guys have had opportunities to get consumer feedback on this product because you spent the extra time and money of making this a beautiful working product, where, like you said, you were at the CrossFit event, trade show, and got people to right there to try it out. What was that feedback that you were getting in person from the folks at the event, and have you taken that into potentially some of these next products that you're maybe rolling out?
We went to the CrossFit Games. We had a vendor booth up there, and we've taken it to facilities. I've been to hundreds of gyms, but the CrossFit Games was so cool just because we had people filtering through using the product nonstop.
Yep.
And it was a wide range of athletes. Even kids would come up and try the product. It was something that I have a huge passion for, is to train youth athletes. And I think that's where one of the main pushes the NV Rack will go to is to high school athletes, young CrossFit users, and things like that. But honestly, the feedback that we got was always super positive.
Well, Brock, this has been amazing. This is now going to get us into the launch round. You ready to go?
So we're getting units in our hands that we're able to give to people. And I think that's what we're super excited for. A lot of people see it, but it doesn't necessarily click for a lot of people just by seeing it and just by us explaining it. And once people use it, it's always a light bulb that goes off. Getting units into people's hands is something that we're just super excited for and something that we know can propel us forward. How confident we are in the good feedback we'll have. And it's going to make marketing the product a lot easier. And we know that people are going to start talking about it and the buzz is going to be there.
Amazing. Well, now it's time for my launch round where I'm going to rapid fire a handful of questions at you. You good to go?
Let's do it.
What inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
My father started his own business. Just seeing him and what he was able to, starting from ground zero and building up, the amount of respect that I have for him is enormous. And so seeing that, I think, is probably what pushed me the most.
If you could meet any inventor or entrepreneur throughout history, who would you want to have a workout with?
That is a great question. One just popped in my head, Henry T. Ford. Weird answer maybe, but
he's actually been a fairly common one on the show over the years.
He was coming out with essentially a new technology and a new product. I by no means am calling this the car, but breaking into a new piece of equipment or technology and just picking his brain on that. Who knows? Maybe he's good at working out too.
Probably had to lift a lot of nuts and bolts, right?
Yeah,
there was no robots back then. What would have been your first question for him?
As an entrepreneur, I think there is a lot of self-doubt. Is this really something that people are going to like? I'm passionate about it, but are other people going to see that? And so I would say how to be confident, stick to your guns, and how to educate and how to push a new technology, because that is one of the biggest things we're coming up against. It's the education piece that we know we have to push and improve on, is how do we educate people about this technology and about this product and about this new type of training.
I think that was probably one of his hardest things, right? Like this main quote is like, if I asked people, they would just say they wanted faster horses. And introducing a completely new technology that didn't even come into their reality.
Absolutely.
What advice or one piece of advice would you give to a new inventor or entrepreneur that's looking to launch their product?
Probably going to reiterate some things I said earlier. Patience. Patience is probably one of the biggest things. And then when you do find those partnerships, do your due diligence in vetting. I've seen and heard of a lot of different other entrepreneurs and product developers get burnt. There's a lot of people out there promising certain things. I would say do your due diligence.
Well, Brock, this has been amazing. This is your opportunity to give your final pitch to our audience and tell them where to go and where to check out NV Rack.
Obviously, Kickstarter. All you have to do is just search NV Rack, and we're going to be the ones that pop up. That's obviously where you can go and purchase it, make any donations or pledges that you want. Any little bit helps, whether you just want to support the idea of this type of training to benefit everyone, but you're not interested necessarily in having this NV Rack yourself. Any pledge helps. Find us on NV_Rack on Instagram, and we put out a lot of education tools, updates on our Instagram and our website as well. Just nvathletic.com is another one. Go there, check out our About page. We have more scientific research and backing of the non-varying resistance to explain that a little bit more. So I would say just follow us as much as you can, get as much education as you can, and honestly just help push us on other social medias, whether it's your social media or link us with a friend, link us with the gym that you go to, and we will try our best to get it into everyone's hands.
Amazing. Audience, thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure to visit artofthekickstart.com for the notes, transcript, links to the campaign, and everything else we talked about today. And of course, big shout out to our crowdfunding podcast sponsor over at Product Hype, the top newsletter for new products that just launched. Brock, thank you so much today for joining us on Art of the Kickstart.
Thank you, Roy.